I know you guys didn't ask for a cooking class, but this is apparently what we're doing. How to make fettuccine alfredo from scratch. I'm mood reading fantasy. The only criteria is that it has to be fantasy. Hey everyone, it's me Bailey and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a weekend reading vlog, and I am basically just going to be focusing on reading fantasy all weekend. So I am very much in a fantasy mood, and so this weekend I really just want to spend the next 3 days just reading a bunch of fantasy. So that's what we're going to be doing in this vlog. So I did just film my 10 before the end video, so I will need to edit that sometime either today or tomorrow because I want to get it up tomorrow, which when this vlog goes up it will probably have been the last video that I posted. So make sure you watch that because some of the books that I talk about in that video might be featured in this video. But I do have a little bit of a TBR for this video. I feel like I'm mainly going to be mood reading, so I don't want to tell you guys the TBR to like set it in stone, but I will be talking about the first book that I'll be reading, which is going to be The Gilded Cage. I don't currently have it with me right this second. It is in the living room, so when I go in there in a minute to let Navy outside, we will grab that so I can start reading it. But that is going to be the first book that I'm reading for this video. I started it on Monday night. I read the first chapter and I have not had any time all week to read it all. It's been such a hectic week at work. So when I got home, like I literally was so tired that I could barely lift my head, let alone read. So I'm hoping to make up for some of the reading that I missed during the week this weekend. So that is kind of where we're going with this vlog. I don't have any plans to go anywhere this weekend. I really just want to hang out in the house and read as much as I can. I have plenty of food in here. I don't need to go anywhere. So yeah, we're just gonna be in the house reading fantasy for the next 3 days. So with that, I have made my coffee for the morning and I am going to go ahead, I think, set up in the living room and get to reading The Gilded Cage. I really loved The Prison Healer, so I'm hoping that I like The Gilded Cage just as much. For some reason I have been kind of putting it off this month to start it because I just don't know if I'm going to like it as much, but I don't know. Fingers crossed that I will. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead, go grab the book so I can get to reading, and I will talk to you guys again soon, probably when I have an update on the book, probably around the 50% mark. It is a bit later now and I have been sitting reading The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni. And so I'm currently on chapter 19, which is page 229. So I'm just a little bit over halfway through, and so far I'm not really loving this the way that I liked The Prison Healer. I thought The Prison Healer was so good. I felt like the story was so intriguing. It had a trials aspect and we were following Kiva in this prison, and we were following her as she was going through these trials, helping to heal people, and just overall it was a lot more interesting than this book. I feel like this book is definitely falling into that second book syndrome where we're not really getting a whole lot of anything. Like, I don't really want to say like what's going on because I don't want to spoil anything, but I feel like with Kiva, while we are still following her and trying to get more involved in her abilities, I just feel like the execution is just a little boring. Like, I feel like we are following Kiva, but nothing's really happening. Like, the plot, while it's there, it isn't super at the forefront of what's going on. So like, obviously she has her motives and things, but we're following her, but like not a lot is going on. And so I think I'm just getting a little bored by it, especially after what happened in the first book. I feel like probably this could have been a duology if I'm being so honest, but I don't know. I will see how the rest of it ends. I feel like I am going to want to read the third book because I definitely want to know the way that things end up in the story. I'm really hoping that, I don't know, because I feel like Kiva is kind of like teetering, right? And if you've read the book, you probably know what I mean by that, but I really just hope that she ends up on the good side of what would be history in this book. I don't know, but you can tell that her motivations are she's starting to question her motivations on whether if everything that she has been taught and told is correct, and if, you know, things that she's learning are more correct than what she's been taught and told. And so it's definitely interesting to follow her during this time, but also too, it is very boring because it's like all she's doing is like training, walking around, and I'm just not feeling super interested in it. So I don't know. It is a very easy to read book. Obviously, of course, it's young adult, so it's nothing too crazy. The world's not too crazy or anything, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought that we would have a little bit more plot in this one than what I'm getting. So I don't know. Right now it's feeling like it'll probably be around a 3-star. So we'll see. I'm gonna keep going. I do have plans to finish this today, so I'm hoping to get the rest of this read. I think I could probably have this read the next like couple hours and then move on to something else this evening. So with that, I'm going to keep reading The Gilded Cage, and I will update you once I am finished. I just finished The Gilded Cage, and man, oh man, does Lynette Noni know how to write an ending. Oh my goodness, that ending was insanity. The betrayal, I cannot get over it. Like, it makes me want to start the next book immediately. And I'm like, oh my goodness, should I go ahead and start it? Because now I'm like, I need to know what's going to happen. Like, what? And it's like, it's almost like a full circle. And like, and if you've read this series, you know what I mean when I say that, but like the ending of this book is essentially like, and it's like, oh my goodness. And the fact that Kiva was so trusting, but it was like so hard to read because it's like you as the reader can kind of like read between the lines and be like, Kiva, like, girl, like this is not a good decision that you're making. Like, wake up, like don't just blindly trust. And it's so hard. And then too with like Jared and him like not having the faith in Kiva and just believing this like stranger, and like literally, oh my goodness, I was very much shocked. Like, obviously I knew that there was an ulterior motive at hand when it came to Kiva's sister, but like that, yeah, that was quite literally not what I was expecting. And I will be reading book 3. Am I going to be reading it right now? That is a good question. I will say this definitely did fall into second book syndrome. So my rating for this, I think, is going to be 3.5 stars. I will say like the beginning part of it was just very boring. It was very boring up until like the last few chapters. I would say at least like up until at least like chapter like 25. And then the last 10 chapters were really, really good. And so with that, I'm giving this 3.5 stars. I already ordered book 3, but this series is on Kindle Unlimited if you want to check it out. So I'm thinking I could download the next book on my Kindle and go ahead and start it until the next book comes in the mail. But also I did have Avalon Tower that I pulled that I wanted to start, but I don't know. I feel like I might need to start the next book, at least read the first like couple of chapters and see if that's something that I want to continue. But I have the whole entire weekend to read fantasy, and this is a mood reading vlog, so why not? Like, I'm mood reading fantasy. The only criteria is that it has to be fantasy, so why not? I think I will start book 3 to this series and then see how much of that I can get read tonight. It's currently 6:30, so I'm about to feed Navy, and I'm also going to figure out dinner for myself, and I'm gonna sit and start book 3. Because yeah, I need to know how it ends. And I really hope that, I know that it's gonna be like a happily ever after, but I'm so curious to how we get there. So I'm gonna go grab my Kindle so I can download book 3. And yeah, I will update you guys again a little bit later, let you know my thoughts and feels on the blood. It's called The Blood Trader, I think. So super excited about that. Gonna go do those little things really quickly, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Okay, so it's almost midnight now, and I think I'm about to go to bed here soon. I am starting to get a little sleepy, but I have been reading The Blood Trader by Lynette Noni, which is obviously the third book in the Prison Healer series, which we talked about earlier. But I'm now on chapter 16, which is page 219. So I am 45% of the way into this book, and I am liking this book so much more than The Gilded Cage. Like, this one already just has so much more action. I feel like it's giving the vibes of the first one. I will say in this one we are doing quite a bit of traveling, which if you've been here for a while you will know that travel fantasies are one of my least favorite fantasy tropes, and I don't love super travel heavy fantasy books. But I feel like the traveling that we're doing in this has been good so far, and it feels very purposeful. And I feel like once they get to their destination, things really kind of ramp up, and I don't feel like the traveling is taking up too much of the time and too much of the plot. So far I'm really enjoying this. I'm definitely going to be going to bed here soon, like literally the next few minutes, but I did want to give the update that I made it to 45% and I'm having such a good time with this book. So I'm definitely going to be finishing this tomorrow, and I do have a video that I need to edit that is going to go up tomorrow, which we had talked about a little bit earlier when I talked to you guys this morning, but I do want to edit that once I wake up in the morning. And then I have plans to finish The Blood Trader, but I am really enjoying this, so I definitely see myself for sure wanting to pick this up tomorrow. So maybe I'll finish it first thing in the morning and then edit and then start the next book that I want to read, because I think next after this I definitely think I want to pick up Avalon Tower, but I was just very hesitant about picking up a fresh series when I'm in the middle of so many. But like, hey, it's a mood reading blog, so like whatever I'm in the mood for, and who knows, tomorrow I might wake up and I'm not even in the mood for Avalon Tower, so we'll see. But that's my update for now, and I will talk to you guys in the morning. Good morning. So it is now the next day, and I am about to sit down and start editing my video that needs to go up today. So I have already made a coffee, and I'm just grabbing my laptop out of the office so that way I can start editing. I'm going to sit on the couch and watch some Law and Order while I edit, and then once I'm done editing my video I will start on The Blood Trader. I am absolutely loving it. It is so good. It is exactly everything that I wanted book 2 to be. So I did not read any more last night since I talked to you, because I did end up going straight to bed after, but I've woken up this morning. I've gotten myself together for the morning. I've got my coffee that I'm about to sit down and drink while I edit. I'll probably make some breakfast here in a minute. Gonna watch some Law and Order, gonna edit and do all the things, and then obviously I'll let you guys know once I start Blood Trader probably, and or like what I'm getting up to the rest of the day. So with that, I'm gonna get to editing, and I will talk to you guys again sometime later today.
In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories.
Hello. Okay, so I know that I've barely talked to you today. I don't even think I've gotten any B-roll footage. I've just been, honestly, if we're gonna be so honest and transparent, not in the mood to film anything today. I've literally just been sitting on the couch reading, scrolling, playing my little game, and I finished The Blood Trader, so I did want to give that update. So I enjoyed this. I really liked this series. I definitely think the first book and the third book were my favorite out of the series. I am going to rate The Blood Trader 4 stars. While I am rating this the same as The Prison Healer, I still think that I liked The Prison Healer a little bit better than The Blood Trader, but that this was still really good. I felt like the ending was the perfect conclusion, and I feel like it had the happily ever after that I was looking for and that I wanted, and none of my favorite characters died, which was amazing. So loved that. And we got a really big reveal there at the end, which was so shocking but was really, really good. It was not something that I saw coming. And overall, I just thought this was a pretty solid book. I thought the series itself was a pretty solid series as well. And I do love a good trilogy. I love when things wrap up like they're supposed to, and I love when it doesn't take forever, because these books weren't too long. They were all pretty short. They were all like right at or under 400 pages. So yeah, I don't know, had a really good time. I do have a physical copy of this coming in the mail, so that should probably be here in the next like day or two. So then it can go on my shelves, and then obviously in my monthly read stack at the end of the month. So waiting on that to get in, but I did really, really enjoy this. I would definitely recommend the series, especially if you're looking for like a young adult fantasy that has trials, that has traveling in it, that takes place at like a castle for part of it's taking place in prison, and part of it's on a military base. Like a lot of it is just, it has a lot of those fantastical elements in it that I feel like make it fantasy enjoyable. So definitely, if you're looking for a new trilogy to start, definitely recommend this one. The magic system was very easy to understand. The world building was good. It wasn't too complicated of a world, and yeah, everything just made sense and everything wrapped up great, and glad that I ended up picking this up, even though I've had The Prison Healer literally on my shelves for years and years and years now. So glad to finally get that off my TBR. But now that I'm finished with The Blood Trader, the next book that I'm going to be picking up is Avalon Tower by C.N. Crawford and Alex Rivers. And this is the first book in the Fae Academy for Spies series, and I am so excited about this. So it looks like we are following, I don't know who we're following actually. Lila, or Lila, Alex? I'm assuming probably Layla, Jules. I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of names, and there's not a name of our main character on the back. So I'm sure once I figure out who the main character is, I will let you guys know, of course. But essentially, she spent 5 years saving up for a European vacation, but instead of getting to drink champagne on the beach, she's been swept up into a secret war between humans and the Fae. And that sounds like something I'm about to eat up. So going to be starting this now. I did also download the ebook on my Kindle, so that way I can lay down and write and read, and that is the plan. So with that, I'm going to start this. Hopefully I can get a pretty big chunk of it out of the way. I will say, while this book does look a little bit thicker, the text is absolutely massive. So I'm wondering if this is going to read a lot quicker than I think it is, because it is over 500 pages, but I feel like because of the massive text, in reality it's not 500 pages. I know that probably made no sense, but anyways, I'm gonna stop yapping your ear off, rambling, and get to reading, and I'll give you an update once I really get into this and know what this is about. A tiny bit later. It's now like just after 6, right before 6:30, and I've been reading Avalon Tower, and so far I don't know how I'm feeling about this. I don't really like the way that it's written. I don't really like the storytelling thus far. It seems very like juvenile kind of, I don't know. It just like is very kind of odd. I don't know. But basically we're following Nia and she is in Europe. In France, right? Is she in France? Literally, that's how much I care about it. Yeah, so she's in France where she comes across these fae fugitives that are like trying to escape from somewhere. I'm not really sure like what's going on with that. Hold on. Okay, so we are following Nia and she is on a solo trip to France for her 26th birthday. And while she's sitting at a cafe, she sees these people that look like fae and they look like they are trying to escape from something. And so she pretends to be a tour guide to help get them to the dock so that way they can get on the ship so they can flee. She ends up getting caught by like the police of France, and so then she has to get on the ship with the fae, where we then find out that she is half fae and that they're gonna take her to Avalon Tower so that way she can learn to become a sentry, because sentries are very rare and they have the ability to hear and like feel the veil between fae realm and the human realm. But obviously she has thought that she has been human this entire time up until now, so she doesn't really know who her father is, and she seems to be having these like visions and things that are kind of like random, and she's like hearing these voices and things, and I don't know. So far it just seems very like weird to me. I don't know. I feel like the beginning was a little random. Like it just feels very random and not very purposeful, but maybe like the further I get into it, the more like it'll all start to kind of like make sense and add up. But yeah, I don't know. So far I'm not really sure how I'm feeling about this. I thought this book was going to be different than it is. So yeah, there's that. I don't know. But I don't know if I told you where I was at, but I'm on chapter 7, so I'm 80 pages in, and I'm feeling very like mixed about this. So I feel like this could go either way. I feel like I could either really, really like this or really, really not like this. So we'll see. I've seen some very mixed reviews on this on Goodreads. People either have given it 2 stars or they've given it 4 stars. So I could fall somewhere in the mix. I could fall in a 2-star category or the 4-star category. We will see. I will be continuing to read this over the evening. My dinner did just finish in the air fryer, so I am about to go grab that really quickly and watch some Law and Order while I eat, and then I will see about getting back to this. But I just don't know if this is going to be a book for me, but we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated, of course, and I will talk to you guys again here in a little bit. Good morning, happy Sunday. So now that it is Sunday, I will be doing a little bit of like a reset around the house just to kind of get ready for next week. So I don't really have that much to do as far as like a reset. I do want to make my bed, which because I just washed my sheets, so I don't have to like do a major like reset where I'm like washing my bedding and like doing a bunch of dishes and doing all of the laundry in the world and things like that. I just have like a few things to kind of pick up around here. I do need to think about like what I'm gonna meal prep for lunch next week. I do need to meal prep at some point today, which I probably will like around dinner time, so you guys probably get to see that throughout the day. And I'm gonna make the bed, get my books together for next week and what I want to read next week, because I am going to be filming a video next week starting tomorrow, and I am gonna make some sweet tea for the week. And honestly, I think that's really about it. I really want to do some reading today as well. I grabbed the audiobook of Avalon Tower, so I am going to listen to that while I'm like resetting, if you will. So yeah, that is the plan for what's going on this morning. It's currently 9:30, so it is a little bit later in the morning than I would have liked, but it's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on things now. I'm gonna make a coffee really quickly and then start the water for the tea, and then just hopefully by the time the tea is ready, then everything that I will have needed to do will be done. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it. I need to find my AirPods, so I will talk to you again soon once I finish the whole montage situation thing that we got going on here. So I haven't talked to you guys since this morning. It is now 5:43 p.m. and I have barely made any progress in Avalon Tower. I don't think I like this. So I made it to chapter 15, which is 32% in, which is page 172. And there's something about it that just is not speaking to me. I'm not enjoying my time reading it. I'm doing literally everything I can except picking this book up. I am procrastinating it. I am putting it off. I do not want to read it anymore, but I always have this like feeling of like when I purchase physical books, like I want to finish them because it's like I spent money on this and I want to at least like see it to completion, because it's like, okay, well, at least if I don't like it, I gave it 100% of the shot. Because normally, like if this was just a book that I was reading on Kindle Unlimited and I had not purchased this, I would DNF it like in a heartbeat. Like I would have been DNF'd it probably. But since I actually like spent my money on like a physical copy of this book, I want to see how it plays out. So I think I am probably going to try and like thug it out. I did grab the audiobook from Audible. And so with that, I think it's less than 3 hours that I have left to listen to it. So it is currently like almost 6 p.m. So if I just like put my headphones in and sit down and listen to this, because what I've been doing is I've been playing my game on my phone, but I have been watching Law and Order, and then I just watched a video on YouTube. So I'm like, okay, well, if I was listening to my audiobook instead of watching Law and Order, then I definitely could have finished this like hours ago and I could have been done, and I could have known that at the end of the month to put this on my books to get rid of shelf. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to put my headphones in, thug it out, listen to the rest of this audiobook. I am probably going to start making dinner in the next like hour or so. And then when I make dinner on Sunday nights, usually I make an excess amount so that way I have enough to meal prep for lunches the rest of the week. So I will be doing that. I am going to make some Alfredo. I was gonna go to the store so I could grab some chicken to put in my Alfredo, but honestly, I don't know if I can be bothered. So it's just gonna be like plain fettuccine Alfredo with no chicken in it. So I just can't be bothered with that today. So that is where I'm at. Navy wants to go outside, so I'm gonna go let him outside. I'm gonna put my headphones in and still play my game and get to listen in. So with that, I will update y'all when it's time to make dinner. Okay, so I'm about to make dinner / meal prep for next week. I'm gonna make some fettuccine Alfredo. I prefer to make my sauce from scratch. So that's what I'm about to do. It's very, very easy. All you need is heavy cream, butter, Parmesan cheese, and then your seasonings of choice. I like to use salt, pepper, parsley, and a little bit of garlic. Usually if I have minced garlic, I like to use it, but I don't know if I have any today. So I am going to season the noodles with garlic. So yeah, let's go ahead and get on into it. So one thing that I do that's probably a little bit odd that my mom has always done, and I just learned this from her, but I'm gonna cook my noodles in the microwave. So I don't usually boil my noodles on the stovetop, like in a pan or anything, or in like a pot. I will take my noodles, put them in the bowl with water, put the microwave in for like 15 or so minutes, and then it'll cook the noodles, and then we'll add them to the sauce. So while the noodles are cooking, I will be making the sauce. Okay, so I didn't have as many noodles as I thought I had because I only had this one pack and it was already open. So to make more noodles, essentially, I will be breaking these in half. So to any of my Italian viewers out there, just look away when I do that. Okay, so I have put the noodles in the water. So to this water, I'm just gonna add a little bit of olive oil and then some garlic powder. I said garlic powder, I meant garlic salt. So just a little bit of olive oil in the water with some garlic salt. And I usually season the water pretty heavily, so that way it like soaks into the noodles while they're cooking. And then I'm gonna put these in the microwave for like 15 minutes. Okay, so now for what's going in the actual sauce itself. So like I mentioned, it's only like a couple ingredients to make Alfredo sauce from scratch. So I have my heavy cream with my butter. I did find a little bit of minced garlic, so I am going to use some of this. And then the Parmesan cheese, of course. And then I have some dried parsley that I'll add in. And then, of course, like salt and pepper to taste. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this. I'm going to turn it on like medium low to start. And then just slowly add in the ingredients. I know you guys didn't ask for a cooking class, but this is apparently what we're doing. How to make fettuccine Alfredo from scratch. So this is the spatula that I like to use when making this, and then obviously I do like to use tongs when I do the noodle part. So, okay, I feel like you can see me a little bit better right there. Obviously you can't see me super great, like it's cutting off my head because of like the tripod is not like tall enough, but regardless. So starting out, we're gonna do the butter. And I don't measure anything. Like I literally just eyeball it, so I'm gonna do probably about like that much butter, and I like to spread it along the bottom of the pan. And then I'm also, with the butter, I'm gonna go ahead and add the minced garlic in, so that way it can be cooking. I barely have any, so I'm only gonna use a little. I'm gonna use about like that much. And honestly, I'm just gonna probably throw the rest of this away because there's hardly anything in it. So now I'm just gonna stir this until the butter melts and the garlic starts to, I don't even know what the word for it would be. Like that's how like unprofessional I am at this. I am gonna turn the heat up just a little bit to medium so that way it can melt just a tiny bit faster. Okay, now the butter is like mostly melted, so I'm gonna go ahead and start adding in some heavy cream. So I do like to start with the heavy cream first and then add the cheese, so that way the cheese can melt into the cream. And then I try to be very sparse with the cream at first because you can always add more, but you can't take away. So I'm gonna start with this first. So I'm just gonna do enough to kind of cover the bottom of the pan. Okay, so now that that's in there, I'm just gonna stir it and make sure the butter and the garlic is stirred in very nicely. That doesn't take very long at all, so then I'll just start adding in the cheese once it starts to kind of get to like a boil, or like, but not really even a boil. Like when it starts to bubble a little bit. It usually takes a minute or two, obviously, because this has been in the refrigerator, so it's very cold. And then so I'm gonna take my Parmesan cheese and add it in. Like I said, I don't know, but if I had to guess, I would say probably, if this is a 1.5 cup bag, I would say probably about, not the whole bag, but definitely a majority of the bag. Then you just make sure to stir the cheese in until it melts. It's gonna be very thick at first, but you can always add more cream. And then once the pasta is done, we'll add a little bit of pasta water depending on how thick I want to make it. But I would say I probably did about 1 cup or so of cheese. So I'm gonna let that sit while it starts to bubble up and melt together. Okay, so I picked you guys up so I could show you what the sauce is looking like right now. So it is like bubbling a little bit. So it is quite thick right now, which I do prefer mine a little bit thicker. But now that this is bubbling, I will turn the heat down and I'm gonna go ahead and add my seasonings, and then it should be good for the noodles. The noodles should be done about 1.5 minutes at this point. Okay, so I've turned the heat off and now I'm going to season, and you just gotta keep stirring. Make sure you stir, because if you don't stir, it will burn, and so obviously you don't wanna burn the sauce. But so I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt, not a whole lot because the cheese makes it salty with the butter. So I'm just gonna add like a little bit of salt and some And then I will be adding some parsley. I have removed it from the heat while we wait the next like few seconds for me to get the noodles out of the microwave and then strain them and whatnot. So I do like to add quite a bit of dried parsley into my Alfredo just to give it like a little bit of color. Okay, now that I've got that stirred in, I am putting it back on the warm eye so that way it can still kind of like simmer a little bit. And then I will add the noodles in. I'm gonna double check to make sure that they're ready. And then I'm gonna grab a cup of, I don't really think I need any pasta water at this point. Okay, the noodles aren't quite done just yet, so I am gonna let them sit in the warm water in the microwave for like another 3 minutes or so. And so while that's like finishing cooking up, I'm going to keep stirring, and also I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning up. And since the eye is off, like it should be fine. It should just kind of be like warming. So I'm gonna start cleaning up around here. I did leave the parsley out just so I can use it as like a little topper. So I will sprinkle a little bit more of this on top once I like plate everything. And I am gonna go ahead and get out the bowls that I'm gonna be using to put this in for meal prep next week. Okay, so the microwave just went off for the noodles, so I think they should be, yeah, they're ready now. Which, because I like to cook them like just under al dente, because then when you go to warm it up in the microwave over the week, it'll cook the noodles. So yeah, these are done. So now I'm going to strain them and save just a tiny bit of pasta water. So I usually just like to take like a little cup situation. So set that there in case I need it. And then now I'm gonna strain my noodles. And I'm not too worried about the noodles being too dry, obviously, because the water is still like, you would need to add it. I mean, if your sauce is too thick. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the noodles in. And now I'm just going to stir the noodles into the sauce. I am gonna add just a tiny bit of pasta water to it, but like I mentioned, I do like my sauce a little bit thicker, so I'm just gonna add probably about that much, and just to kind of thin the sauce out just a tiny bit. But I feel like the thicker the sauce, the better it reheats. So, and I know since I'm gonna be eating on this for a few days, I do just prefer just a bit of a thicker sauce. But so this is the finished result. It's just Alfredo from scratch. And then now that this is here, I'll just use my tongs to portion it out, and then I will eat on this for lunch all week. So that is how I make my Alfredo. And yeah, so now I'm going to portion this out, get me some for dinner right now. I will add a little bit of parsley to top, but that's about it. So I'm going to hopefully finish Avalon Tower this evening. If not, then I will finish it tomorrow. But it says I have an hour and 46 minutes left in it, so that should be plenty of time before I decide to go to bed. So we'll see. I will update you guys before I go to bed, let you know if and when I finish it and what my rating is. So I'm gonna go eat dinner now, and I will talk to you guys a little bit later. I just finished Avalon Tower by C.N. Crawford and Alex Rivers, and I'm giving this book 2.5 stars. I feel like this had potential, and I feel like there's potential in the next books. I don't think I will purchase the next books. I probably won't even keep this book, but I definitely think that I might consider reading the next book on Kindle Unlimited, because the series is on Kindle Unlimited. But this felt very like confusing. The magic system was very like strange, and the writing felt like not super great. I will say that the more that the book went on, I feel like the better it got. So I feel like the beginning was very choppy and very confusing, and I feel like the authors didn't really do a very good job of building the world and like explaining to us what was going on. Like, I feel like they did an okay job of that, but even still, like once Nina got to Avalon Tower and like to this Fae Academy for Spies, I feel like it wasn't super fleshed out. Like, it was like all of a sudden she was in the human world, next thing you know she's in this Fae Spy Academy, but like now she's like going on missions and she's like learning stuff, but like she's not really learning stuff because they keep like taking her on these missions because she's so like necessary and needed, but like I don't know. And then there was like a little bit of like a trials aspect there at the end that was that just felt very rushed. And like, I don't know, the book just felt discombobulated. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Will I continue with the series? Maybe, probably not, but maybe. But yeah, so anyways, I did finish this, so that's great, but that means that that is the last book that I'm going to be talking about in this video, as well as the last day of this vlog. So I am here to end this vlog out for the weekend and the evening. I had a good time hanging out with you guys this weekend. I definitely had a bit of a slower weekend. I really was just trying to essentially stay at home and rot and not do a whole lot of anything, and I feel like I did just that. I did have a very, very rough work week last week, so just being able to couch rot, house rot for the last 3 days was very much necessary and needed. So I'm feeling a lot more refreshed going into the work week next week, so I'm hoping for a better week. And also too, I feel like I was able to get quite a bit of reading done this weekend, which was great. That's always the goal. I read 3 books this weekend. I completed a series, which was amazing, and I was able to check a book off of my 25 books to read in 2025, my fall TBR, and my 10 before the end list with Avalon Tower. So that is amazing in and of itself. So that is all for this video. I think my next book might potentially be a sports romance because I feel like that is now what I'm in the mood for. But I had such a good time reading a fantasy with you guys this weekend. Hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. If you did, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me. I would love to have you stick around. And with that being said, if you haven't made it to this point in the video, leave the magician emoji because this was a King Arthur retelling, and I feel like Merlin, of course, is like the most iconic character in King Arthur's tale. So leave a magician for Merlin. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.